Let's take a moment to look at the other side of the spectrum. We often hear about how men should respect women, but we hardly ever hear about how women should in return respect them. If we're going to talk about what men need to do for us, then we also need to talk about how we need not to neglect them. And if we're not going to talk about what we need to do better, then we need not to try to correct him. Because otherwise that's hypocrisy. And that makes us also guilty. That's like us trying to tell our men to clean up their house when our own house is still filthy. So let's make sure we treating our men with that same level of respect. And this ain't no woman bashing session. I'm just trying to make sure we come in correct. Because too often we forget that we also have a role. We are the yin to his yang. So balance is the goal. And no, our men are not above us, but he's also not below. So we must learn to complement each other and not dominate and control. So if you expect your man to do something, make sure you're willing to do it too. And don't ask more of him than you yourself is willing to do. And this goes for men too. Don't expect no woman to bow down to you unless you're going to honor and respect her too and treat her just as valuable. Because truth be told, these should be things that we're both proud to do. Peace and
It's very difficult for men. It's very difficult for black men. America has done so much damage to our image and our reputation. Now, I'm not saying that in our community we aren't hurting our own selves, reputation by our behavior. But it's very, very difficult to be a young man or a man in our community when you got a bunch of individuals in our community who don't respect manhood. I mean, there's no respect for being a man. I mean, you look across social media, social platforms, all you consistently see are women in our country just blatantly disrespecting their men out and open across social media. It makes no sense to me, but I do understand that women can be very emotional. You know, most of us know this. Men know that women typically are more emotional. Now, don't get it twisted. Men are now too, only because of the way or the conditions of society today that leads women to believe that some kind of way they this Joan of Arc now. This feminist movement, these years and years and years of these big mamas image from the 90s, and truth be told, even before the 90s, it's just that it was pushed out there so hard in the 90s and going through the 2000s that now our culture is very, very damaged. Our men are getting gunned down by law enforcement and others at an alarming rate. And yet, some kind of way, instead of everyone being on the same page and working on trying to stop what's happening, I noticed that I keep seeing and hearing women saying like ridiculous stuff like, we don't need to go out there and do anything for our men anymore, or because we're the ones doing all the work. I mean, you know, I see the news and I see television, and I see every time something happens, I think, yes, I think our women in our community, they have big mouths. They gonna let you know how they feel and what they think. Our men, we don't move like that. We not running around just blatantly pushing ourselves in front of the pack, because we don't have to. We men. It's the women who keep trying to push themselves in front of the pack and make claims that are not justified. So you got to understand something. We are one. We are one. In this country, you can't afford to be split. But yet we can't get our ladies to understand this. They keep talking like unrealistic stuff, like they don't need them, they don't need men, and they can do it by themselves, and just unrealistic things. The Creator created man and woman to operate in a way to where it should be like perfection. But because of social programming, because of television, because of radio, and the lyrics that come from the music, today's women are very, very hostile, very hoarse, and have no respect for their men. But at the same breath, talk about they want their men to show them respect. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see guys out on these platforms doing all this. Now, I do realize that on certain platforms, since they did this follow girl train or whatever it was, which is cool. The black girls train, and this train and that train. Hey, it's cool. But see, what happened is now a lot of people who I deem to be very ignorant have now the opportunity to get up on these platforms and just in large numbers screaming this anti-male, anti-black shit. They even, I mean, because you have to understand, when you anti your male, then you might as well go ahead and just say, as a female, you're anti-black. When you can run around and just really talk about your husbands or your sons or your fathers, because that's what you're doing. Every time you go on a platform and you hear an individual just begin to start to talk negatively about men and try to encapsulate and say it's all men, they're wrong for that, because it's not all men. If you have an issue with a man, that issue is because you got an issue. If a man isn't right for you, walk away. But you don't do that. See, you make the decision to choose these different men and different types of men. You have the right and the ability to. If things don't work out, I'm gonna be honest to you. A lot of time it's the women. Women in our community have all these things that they want and desire. You know, they see these shows on television, this love and hip hop shit, and all these other different shows that, you know, show this glamour stuff and this travel stuff. But you got to understand, these shows are designed to pull you into something that is not even really a major reality for most of the people in the country. These people are a minority in the country. These people that you see on television are a minority in the country. It's not the life of most people in America. But yet our women fantasize this shit. They fantasize this stuff. Like I say, a lot of the issue comes from the propaganda being pushed in the programming in Hollywood movies, television, and radio, and news media. It's very, very difficult. Young men, hear what I'm about to say to you, and the same thing with the younger women. You can't fight the ladies, men, like physically. Listen. They will get you into a scenario with their mouths and their behavior to a point to where you find yourself almost wanting to go out of control. If it happens, you feel bad. And now you have been made to be the villain because you decided enough is enough with the lady that you're involved with, whether it's your girlfriend or your wife. And so you end up in some type of altercation with her. But see, a lot of times, which ladies don't know, so they got this thing in their mind, young men, that it's all across the board in their head that they can say what they want to say to you in a disrespectful manner, in a disrespectful language, and you are just supposed to just take it because you're a man. You're supposed to take it. I believe that a lot of guys do take it, but it's when it becomes repetitive over and over and over again, and you keep getting the same behavior from your friend, your spouse, your wife. When you say something and you try to have a conversation with your partner, and every time you try to say something about how you feel about something that you don't like, and you're a lady, your girlfriend, you can't say anything to them because the first thing they want to do is cut you off mid-sentence and make it about them. And then as you try to speak to them, you can't, because now they are supposedly mad at you for coming to them about things that concern you about them. About things that concern you in a way of how you're treated or talked to by your woman, your lady, your best friend, supposed to be. Now, you are not supposed to be able to do any of the above things. You're supposed to just be a man. What is being a man? Being a man is to stand down, let her run her mouth, let her throw shit around the house, let her just kind of like whatever. Do whatever she wants to do, never considering what you're trying to say or trying to do. Guys, when you have that scenario and you see it early on, and it's not all the ladies, but it's quite a bit. I mean, you think about it, 80% of divorces come from women. It's not men divorcing women, it's women divorcing men. They don't want to fulfill their roles anymore. They want you to fulfill your role. They want you to be the breadwinner, while they at the same time are breadwinners. But they want to do what they want to do with their income and have strife with you if they can't. You can't walk up to a lot of these ladies and say to them, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take our money and do this. The first thing you're gonna get is what you talking about. No, I don't want to do that. Now they have officially stagnated the relationship because now you can't go forward, because now as a man you sitting there like, look, we are together and we are trying to do something together, and we can't do it because you won't be a team player. You want me to be what you want me to be, but when a man goes to a woman and says, hey, I don't like this, it's an automatic pushback. Hey, I wish you would do this like that, like this. It's an automatic pushback. Hey, I want to take our money and do an investment in this kind of way because I believe this will better help us, our family, in the future. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The cooperation is very, very difficult in our community. People are very selfish in our community about their money. I mean, even married. You have people in marriages whom one of the other spouse doesn't want to share or tell you what money that is available to be used to push ourselves forward. No. Men can't know this. They don't want you to know how much money they have. They don't want you to know. All they know is when they need something from you, they want you to be available and have them funds. Long time ago, I was when I was younger, in my 20s, I told some younger guys whom I was coaching at the time. I sat in a huddle with them and I told them this. I said, don't get caught up, because what happens is you get caught up with a beautiful girl. You like a girl. You like this particular girl because she's cute. She got that. She's built, or she has a beautiful personality outside of her being built. She's just a beautiful being. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, what happens is men will go head over heels trying to get to this individual. This individual will be difficult. Or this individual knows this and says, well, you know something? I'm going to call homeboy on Friday. Back in the day, I mean, this is how Friday night, you be sitting around your house as a single man. Now, I'm talking about single men minding your own affairs. So I'm just trying to give an example. I'm not trying to mind your own affairs. You know, you're not going nowhere. You get a phone call of somebody that you like, you have an interest in. Now, you don't know she done called 2-3 other people before you. But then she gets to you and she says, hey, what's up? And you're like, oh, all right, I'm cool. How you doing? Oh, I'm okay. What you doing? Now the guy is like, I'm just at home, sitting back, doing whatever. Say, when she opens that, when she says that, he said, oh, whoa, she asked me what I'm doing. Shit, hell, I can think of some things I could be doing. Shit, with her. You know, particularly if the young man is smitten by her through her personality or beauty. And so this young man will take his hard-earned money and say, well, what you doing? And she'll say, oh, I'm not doing nothing. Then the next thing will come out of his mouth, and you want to do something? And she'll be like, oh, well, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You want to go out? Oh, yeah, I want to go out. And then the young man, he'll take his hard-earned money, go find this individual, spend his money out. But the problem is, she won't spend hers. The problem is, he spent his rent money. He spent his car payment money. He spent his school payment money. Just because he's a male and he wanted to show her a good time because he's interested in her and he really wanted her to know that he's really involved or interested in her. But Monday comes around. Now get this now. He did all that over the weekend, spent his money, ran around. Maybe they entangled or maybe they didn't entangle. Some cases they don't entangle. Ain't no love making happening. You just spent your money with no commitment. So then, come Monday, you get a letter in the mail saying that you got to pay this, you got to pay that, and it's due. But you done sat out here and gave it all away trying to win over this female that you think or you thought would have your back. So you call and say, you know something? I messed up. And trying to impress you, which I really wanted to do. But my funds are, I'm not rich. I'm not rich. I got some, can you help me out in return because I have an emergency. Things came up, and I took a lot of that money and spent it on us over the weekend. But I need to recover something because I have an issue. Ooh wee. Then she comes back and says, "Well, damn, that's too bad because I had just paid my car note and my mortgage or my rent or my school loan. Sorry about that. I mean, I had a good time with you, but I just ain't got it where I can come back and help you out." Man, that man is blown away. That young man is blown away because now he's like, well, damn. And then the next thing you know, that fake lady girl stuff disappear, and you run into that masculine feminist switch up on you, and you like, whoa! Next thing you know, if you hard press it, you gonna get cussed out, you gonna get disrespected, you gonna get something thrown at you. You might get scratched because in their minds, they're not supposed to have to do anything to help you. They're not supposed to do anything to help you. Even when you help them and you prop them up. When you prop women up and you try to help them improve their lives and you downgrade yourself trying to help them, when they get up, oh my goodness. When a woman gets up and she feels like she's financially okay and she feels like her shit is all good, man, and she feels like you aren't contributing because she may be making more income than you or she may be buying more things than you, then here comes the disrespect. Now, when it was flipped the other way, you understand, they want you to do it and do it with respect and be kind and generous and be helpful when it comes down to them. But when it comes down to you as a male, then it becomes an issue because now it's, well, you need to get a job. When I met you, you didn't have one. When I met you, you didn't have a job. You didn't have a career. You had children attached to you. Most of you do. That is the travesty of it all. Have all these fantasy thoughts of what you want. You get a man involved with you. You already got two children attached to you that aren't even his. And he's supposed to just do everything. Pretend dad to your other men's children. And just do. But this is the problem. Men have a hard time with women who don't want to fulfill their roles as women. See, the thing is, right, as you hear people consistently go lambast on men across social media, I can tell you, in this time frame, in this time period, not most, but a lot of women in society these days, they can't cook. They can't keep a house clean. They struggle raising children because their minds are still stuck on themselves. And because their minds are still stuck on themselves, they can't engage and do what they're supposed to do 100% with their children. Now, granted, a lot of the ladies, 80%, 70% divorce their men. And the other percentage don't get married. All I'm saying, we have an issue in our community, in America, across all communities. In some communities, it's more difficult. And it's just a fact. In some communities in America, in some cultures in America, it is very, very difficult to get anything achieved or accomplished when you consistently are fighting with your spouse or your best friend who is supposed to be in alignment with you as the man. Understand what I'm trying to say right here. If society collapses tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of ladies turning to men to come rescue them, save them, to be beside them. But as long as society stays like it is and everything's okay, they feel like they don't need us because they feel like they can walk out here, find another guy that's a simp, that's gonna fall for the okie doke and do everything that she wants him to do without her ever having to do what her role is for him. And then when he becomes upset about her not doing her part and starts to mention it or starts to say things that he feels that should be going on to better their relationship or financial status, or even, you understand, it's pushback, it's disrespect, it's women raising their voices at men. See, you gotta understand something. When you raise your voice at men and your man just sits back and he looks at you and he doesn't say anything, but he allows you to go, first off, he is showing you respect. But you have to understand, as a male, that's like you taking your nails across the chalkboard and just raking them across the chalkboard. It's nerve-wracking to us when our women in society responds to us with disrespect, no care in the world about our thoughts, only themselves, man, that's a stage for war at some point between the two. Because there is no man who is going to continue to allow someone to consistently disrespect them and get away with it because they're women. That's not right. You say a lot of you say you fear us. But that's not how you act. You don't act like you fear your men. Actually, it's quite the opposite. You don't fear your men because now to men today have been stripped of their manhood so hard that men can't even do the things that they were used to do to try to get you to understand and get you in line. But you can get them in line though, right? You can cut your eyes, you can stand up and flex, you can raise your voice, you can tell a man what you aren't going to do, you can say what you aren't going to do, you ladies of today are not like the ladies of yesterday. You just aren't. You don't have respect. And you don't have respect for your men, some of you, in our community, in America. Because if they make less money than you, you don't have respect. You don't have respect if that individual that you're connected to, who you are supposed to love, doesn't have a job. Oh boy, don't let that one go down. Gentlemen, man, I'm gonna be honest to you, man. See, you can pick them up off the street. You can pick them up and pull them into your homes and try to do for them and try to keep them afloat and try to support them. And yes, there are some men who are take that and use it into their advantage to do terrible things to ladies. But also there are a lot of good men out here really trying to do good things by the ladies, and they still get mistreated. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just trying to say something in the most respectful manner as I can as a man. In my community is a shambles. It is. And it's sad. Do you know, in my lifetime, I've seen my relatives and friends, men, all had the same struggle with the girlfriends and their wives. I watch my uncles, my grandfather, and my cousins all perish at the hands of women. I watch my relatives go to jail at the hands of women. I watch my relatives go to jail and then die in jail at the hands of women who they thought had their best interests, who they had those ladies' best interests, but they just couldn't take what some women bring to the table, which is hostility, disrespect, and negativity. And so the men in my sector, they try. You hear them all the time talking about it. Man, I can't get her to understand. I can't get her to listen. I can't get her to Stop talking. I can't get past her emotions because every time I try to speak, I can't speak because her emotions kick in, and once her emotions kick in, she's out of control. I can't get nothing accomplished. I watched my uncle, I watched my cousins all die young, dealing with women, going to jail, dealing with women. But yet women that's not the case. They move on to the next because they just do. They can. Again, I don't know why I'm out here right now saying what I'm saying. Like I said, I see the things on social media, the complete disrespect for certain men in certain community. And then at the same time, these individuals ask us to be loyal and protect them, when all we've ever gotten is nothing but disrespect. All we ever gotten is nothing. We can work our asses off. We can fix cars. We can help fix homes. We can protect. We can do all of the above. But if you don't have the economy over the woman, she's not gonna respect you. She won't show you the same respect that she should show you. Nah, she gonna see you as less than that. She sees herself as the breadwinner. She sees herself as the shot caller. Man, you're done. So the best thing I can say to young men, all men, when you experience disrespect to the point to where it angers you, to the point to where you feel like you're looking at another guy across the room from you, when you find yourself in a scenario where an individual is speaking to you with so much disrespect and vile, I'm going to tell you right now, stay away from it. When you see it, stay away from it. Guys, we got to do better on picking who we choose. It's not just the ladies have to do better about who they choose. The men have to do better as well, because we're choosing really poorly right now. There are really some good women out here that are being overlooked, maybe because of how they look, or maybe because, they just not your type. But I'm going to tell you, everyone keep running after this so-called beautiful woman. Man, you got to know what you're running to. Because that beautiful woman can be beautiful to the point to where that's all she is. You're trying to find that one you can lay in the bed with, and she can set you out. She can set it out. And you love that part. I'm going to tell you something. You ain't going to let the other party come with it when she's not in that bed with you. And now you got to deal with the disrespect. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. When you see it and recognize it, because what's gonna happen is, if you choose them, you stay with them long term, you get married, you have children with them, and they have the same behavior and you really can't get away. Like you just like if you're in a whole other house, you can, right? But if you are married or you're in the same roof with this individual displaying these same emotions or kind of disrespect towards you and your manhood for whatever reason, it's going to lead to, at some point, not all men, not all women, but at some point, there's a very high percentage that it's going to lead to an altercation. Ladies, men don't want overzealot, over aggressive, talk back, talk down women. No man wants that in no community. In no community. And when men across the board are saying all the same things in reference, it must be true. You cannot, as a group, say you rock. You cannot, as a group, say magic when you can't even take care of your household and do what you need to do in your homes by your husbands or your partner. Each time each of you run your mouth and say, black girl rocks, white girl rocks, white girl magic, black girl magic, man, that's just you trying to push yourself and elevate yourself to something that you, unfortunately, clearly are not. And that's why there's so many issues in the different communities around America with male and female relationships, white or black. It doesn't matter. If you don't have respect for your men are going to lose care for you. They're going to lose respect for you. And they're going to treat you how you want to seem to be treated. Because if you want to be treated a certain kind of way, then you just wouldn't do, or you just wouldn't say certain things. You wouldn't do things to harm the relationship. You wouldn't do things to harm the marriage. You would do everything possible to make everything work. And that is not the case in 2023. It's not the case in 2023. Now, I'm going to say this. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that men are innocent, because men are not. You know, men are not. There are some men who will not work. There are some men who will not do what they're supposed to do. But if you run across a man that's trying to do what he's supposed to do, and he's trying to work, but under the circumstances in our country right now, the work isn't there, or the work that he wants to do isn't available, or the work he wants to do, they just won't hire him for various reasons, but they'll hire you because you fill 2 roles, sometimes 3. Female. If you're a black woman in America, you the minority, you fill 2 categories. You fill the woman category box, and then you also turn around and fill the black woman category. That man in your household can't have that same thing. He can't fill 2 boxes. So it makes him less hireable than you. And plus, at the same time, again, most companies, HR, are ran by either white men or white women. As far as your men are concerned, they would rather not have your men present based on the anti-blackness in the atmosphere in America. Yeah, they want you to be around. Who wouldn't want to look at a beautiful chocolate bar walking around the office all day, right? Who wouldn't want to have your presence? Because your behavior is going to be whole different at work than your behavior is going to be at home to your husband or your best friend or your partner. Your behavior is going to be unbecoming when you go home. But when you at work, oh shit, oh, you a lady. You a lady to your boss, to your co-workers. Oh, you just, ooh. But then when you go home, because you're angry that you have to go to work, or you're angry because you have to do this particular job maybe that you don't want to do, but then you to bring that disrespect to your husband, you bring that disrespect to your best friend, but all day, 8 hours, man, you somewhere kissing ass, but then when you get home, now you ain't gonna kiss your man's ass. You gonna show him your foot. You gonna put your foot in his ass because of whatever reason. All day you go to work. You got all these men at your job and women flirting at you, staring at you, propositioning you all the time. You got a man who loves you, trying to do for you, trying to be there for you. But your head gets big at work, at the job, and you start to see what other people are doing. And you say, well, why can't that be me? It can't be you because in this country, your men have been put in prison. And I'm talking across the board. I'm not talking about just one community. Your men have been put in prison. So there's less men in the population in America. Particularly, I want to say Hispanic males and American black males. We are the ones sitting in the jails for 10, 15 years, 20 years at a time, where our counterparts are male counterparts, which are European Americans. They go to jail for 6 months and come home, be able to get back to their family, be able to get back to their wives, and are able to garner a quick, decent paying job based on their race. It's a very unfair playing field for poor minorities across the board in reference to its European American counterpart who have established themselves and all the rules and how you play the game, and it's all skewed their direction to where all other men look unfit or unbecoming, because all other men cannot garner the wealth in which they are garnering based on chattel slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and destruction of the black male in America. And currently, women, just so you know, now this is to the women in my community, I'm going to tell you something. You currently are witnessing the same things that's happening to your men happening to yourself. Every time I look across the scene, I'm seeing videos across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and all platforms of our young women in high school, in college, and growing up everywhere. Fist fighting as if they were in the UFC with each other, fighting like groups of girls, attacking other girls, killing them. Our community right now is not correct. I don't know what you think this is, but we got a hot mess going on. Not only are our girls attacking each other and attacking their men, but they also are now turning criminal based on the music, based on what they've seen on television. They also now are turning into whores across the board and thinking the only thing they have to do is spread their legs. So you got that batch out here too. So you got the batch that's going to work, but then you got the whores out here now who think all they need to do is spread their legs. They don't have no connection to you because they feel like if you have income and they spread their legs, you're supposed to pay. And if you don't pay, they're going to close them legs and they're going to go somewhere else and get that money they want to get. But at the same time, they don't want to do housework. They don't want to submit to you. They just want your money and some good time so they can move on to the next until they get into their 40s. Some of them will stop when they get to their 40s because they realize, I'm 40 years old, I'm 35. Okay, I want, but up until then, boy. And this culture that has been created through radio, through rap, through hip hop, that's been designed to destroy our community. Man, y'all run to it, 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 y'all run to it. You run to it, and now it's destroying our community because now you have the same behavior of the Jocelyn Hernandez's or the Cardi B's or the Meg Thee Stallions or the, I mean, you Nicki, you have the same behavior. You not guys, you in our community, I hate to say it, the people who are really good people, we're not praising. We're not praising the Lauryn Hills. We're not praising the Patti LaBelle's anymore. We're not praising people like Whitney Houston. We're not. The people we are. I mean, Diana Ross, Diana Summers. I mean, it's a list. Aretha Franklin. Look at what we have currently today. We have females who look like females who ooze off as whores and masculine. Say they're the ones pushing the word bitch forward. You know, before Jocelyn Hernandez got around and got on television when she was younger, all she was saying, I'm the baddest bitch. I'm this bitch. And then she was calling everyone on the cast bitch, and no one did anything about it. Now you look across the spectrum on all platforms, women call each other bitch. And guess what? Now men today are more quick to call you bitches because you do. It would be the same thing with this word nigga. Now it has always been that, well, okay, initially it was nigger, right? Okay, so then somebody got a bright idea, we're gonna switch it to nigga. If it was such a good thing, Explain to me why it is that every time someone outside our community says the word, it's going to be violence, because we still see it as nigger. Because people could still use nigger and make the reflection to the point to where it makes you believe they're calling you what you don't want to be called. But now in society, when it wasn't acceptable, it is acceptable across all platforms to say this word. I see white men saying nigga. I see black men saying nigga. I see other cultures saying nigga to one another. To one another. But it's still considered to be a derogatory name. How does it empower the community when the community is consistently doing self-destruction on itself by the words in which are being used within our community and by the image that is being allowed in our community? And because of everything that's being allowed by programming or by economics, again, the women in our community have disrespect for their men. It's a shame across the board. And all I have to say about it is this at this point. If we, as all Americans, don't get ourselves together, our country is going to implode very soon. It's not just about a race war between groups. It's going to be a war of gender as well. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you ladies really can fathom what's going on. You're making the men in all communities angry with you. And because of it, you could find yourselves in a lot of danger. Because some men are mentally ill. And because they're mentally ill, and you're not aware of it, and all the things that you do and say at some point could possibly come back to do harm to you. He could possibly come back to do harm to you by your nature, by your unruly, disrespectful, thinking you can fight a man, thinking you can just do whatever because you're a female. Those men can turn. You see, you don't understand the mentality of a man. Most men have been taught and trained, we hope, to restrain from getting caught up into emotional scenarios with you. Most men have been taught not to be emotional. But when you cross that man's threshold and his emotions kick in, that's anger kicking in. And when that anger kicks in, there's another part of us that switch. That means that our eyes roll black. And we can lose it. And if we lose it, there's nothing you can do, because you can't really, the bulk of you really can't deal with the force of a man coming at you like a rhino. If you hit that man, you don't have no idea what's going to come back at you.
Good morning.